Morning, students. Today we are going to study the seasons, which we were continuing with the chapter number 4, that is climate. Okay, now the seasons, you all know that there are three seasons in India, that is winter, summer and rainy season, right? There are three reasons. Okay, now the monsoon type of climate is characterized by a distinct seasonal pattern. The weather conditions greatly change from one season to the other. Okay, means in winter you are receiving cold, in summer you receive hotness, and in rainy season you receive rainfall. So the weather conditions, the weather changes from one season to the another part. These changes are particularly noticeable in the interior parts of the country. The coastal areas do not experience much variation in temperature, though there is variation in rainfall pattern. Okay, now these conditions or these changes, that is the weather changes, it is only experienced in the interior side of the country, in the inside of the country. But whereas if you are talking about the coastal areas, there you do not receive so much variation or so much change in temperature. But in rainfall pattern, there can be some variations. How many seasons are experienced in your place? Four main seasons can be identified in India: the cold weather, the hot weather, the advancing monsoon, and the retreating monsoon. So, if we are discussing about the seasons of India, then there are four kinds, that is the cold, that is the winter, the summer, the advancing monsoon, means the coming monsoon, and the retreating monsoon. Okay, then first of all, we are going to discuss the winter season, that is the cold weather. What is the time period of this season, and so on. It begins from mid-November in northern India and stays till February. So the time period is what? Till from November to February. December and January are the coldest months in the northern part of India. Means December and January you receive the most cold. The temperature decreases from south to north. Okay, when you are moving from the south pole to the north pole, the temperature started decreasing. The average temperature of Chennai on the eastern coast is between 24 to 25 degrees Celsius. If you are talking about the eastern part, then the average temperature of Chennai is 24 to 25. While in the northern plains it ranges from 10 degree and 15 degree. While if you are talking about the northern plains, then it is 10 or 15 degrees Celsius. Days are warm and nights are cold. Okay, means days are hotter and the nights are cold. Frost is common in the north and the higher slopes of the Himalayas experience snowfall. What happens here? Frost, okay, in the north, if you north side we go, we receive frost part, and in the higher slopes of the Himalayas we receive or we experience snowfall. During this season, the northeast trade wind prevails over the country. During this season, that is the winter season, the northeast trade winds come to the country. They blow from land to sea, and hence for most part of the country it is a dry season. From land to sea. Okay, it is not from sea to land but land to sea, so it is a dry season. Some amount of rainfall occurs on the Tamil Nadu coast from these winds, as here they blow from sea to land. Now what happens here? That some amount of rainfall. What happens? It occurs in Tamil Nadu because here the wind directions changes. It changes from sea to land. In the northern part of the country, a feeble high pressure regions develop with light winds moving outwards from the area. Influenced by the relief, these winds blow through the Ganga Valley from the west and the northwest. The weather is normally marked by clear sky, low temperature and low humidity and feeble variable winds. So these are the features of this climate condition. A characteristic feature of the cold weather season over the northern plains is the inflow of cyclonic disturbances from the west and the northwest. What happens? There is a flow of cyclonic disturbances, which we had firstly also discussed, that what are cyclonic disturbances. So what happens? They inflows from cyclonic disturbances from the west and the northwest. These low pressure systems originate over the Mediterranean Sea and Western Asia and move into India, along with their westerly form. They cause the much needed winter rains over the plains and snowfall in the mountains. Means the higher mountains are receiving snowfall and the plain regions receive rainfalls. Although the total amount of winter rainfall is local known as Mahavat in winter. If in winter, in the cold season, if you are receiving rainfall, then it is known as Mahavat. They are of immense importance for the cultivation of rabi crops. Matlab, this type of Mahavat can be very useful for the rabi crops. Okay, so this was about the cold weather. That was the winter season. Now we are going to discuss about the hot weather, that is summer. Due to the apparent northward movement of the sun, the global heat belt shift northwards. As such, from March to May it is hot weather season. Okay, from March to May. From we can say from mid December till February we had winter season. From now March to May we have hot season, that is the summer season, right? The influence of the shifting of the heat belt can be seen clearly from temperature recordings taken during March-May at different latitudes. In March, the highest temperature is about 38 degrees Celsius. Recorded on the Deccan Plateau in April, temperatures in Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh around 42 degrees Celsius. In May, temperature 45 degrees Celsius is common in the northwestern parts of the country. In peninsular India, temperatures remain lower due to the moderating influence of the oceans. Okay, so these are given the temperature variations which are in March, in April, and in May. But if you are talking about the peninsular India, okay, peninsular India, there what happens? It is influencing it has the influence of the oceans. So the temperatures are low. The summer month experiences rising temperature and falling air pressure in the northern part of the country. Towards the end of May, an elongated low pressure area develops in the region, extending from the Thar Desert in the northwest to Patna and Chota Nagpur Plateau in the east and southeast. Circulation of air begins to set in around this trough. What happens in hot season? What happens? The temperature increases, okay, from March to May, and when May comes, there is a low pressure region created. A striking feature of the hot weather season is Lu, right? That is the warm winds. Lu means the warm winds, okay, which are moving towards from the in the hot weather season. These are strong, gusty, hot, dry winds blowing during the day over the north and northwestern India, okay, where there are many regions where we experience this type of Lu, right? That means these type of warm winds. Sometimes they even continue until late in the evening. Direct exposure to these winds may even prove to be fatal. Means there are many problems which arrive due to Lu. Okay. Dust storms are very common during the month of May in northern India. These storms bring temporary relief as they lower the temperature and may bring light rain and cool breeze. This is also the scene for localized thunderstorms associated with violent winds, torrential downpours, often accompanied by hail. In Western Bengal, these storms are known as Kal Baisakhi. Means at the end of the May, what happens? There are like thunderstorms, there are hail, there are violent winds, and these are called as Kal Baisakhi in West Bengal, right? And we also have seen that this is celebrated as a festival also. Towards the close of the summer season, pre-monsoon showers are common, especially in Kerala and Karnataka. They helped in the early ripening of mangoes and often referred as mango showers. Means at the end of the hot weather season, that is the summer season, there are monsoon showers, okay, which are known as mango showers just because they are useful for the ripening of mangoes. Okay, so this was about the hot weather season. Now discussing about the advancing monsoon, that is the rainy monsoon. By early June, the low pressure condition over the northern plain intensified. It attracts the trade winds of the southern hemisphere. These southeast trade winds originated over the warm subtropical areas of the southern oceans. They cross the equator and blow in a southwesterly direction, entering the Indian peninsula as the southwest monsoon. As these winds blow over warm oceans, they bring abundant moisture to the subcontinent. So these are about the warm winds which come, okay, which enter the southwesterly direction, entering the Indian Peninsula's southwest monsoon. Okay, and these winds bring over warm oceans, so they bring abundant of moisture also, right? These winds are strong and blow at an average velocity of 30 kilometer per hour. So this is the range of these winds. With the exception of the extreme northwest, the monsoon winds cover the north country in about a month, means starting in the June section. Okay, if you are talking about because the timings of the rainy season are different in different states. We can see the first rain which we receive is in Kerala and Karnataka, which are known as mango showers. After that, till 10th June, we receive first rainfall shower in Bombay, and after on. The inflow of the southwest monsoon into India brings about a total change in the weather. Early in the season, the windward side of the western receives very much more rainfall, more than 250 sites. That is the windward side of the western Ghats. The western Ghats, okay? They receive rainfall more than 250 centimeters. The Deccan Plateau and parts of Madhya Pradesh also receive some amount of rain in spite of lying in the rain shadow. Okay? So the Deccan Plateau and the parts of Madhya Pradesh also receives rainfall. The maximum rainfall of the season is received in the northeastern part of the country. Mausoleum in the southern ranges of the Khasi Hill receive the highest average rainfall in the world. So Mausoleum is the part or is a state which receives the highest rainfall in the world. Rainfall in the Ganga Valley decreases from the east to west. Rajasthan and parts of Gujarat get scanty rainfall, means less of rainfall. Another phenomena associated with the monsoon is its tendency to have breaks in rainfall, means breaks. Okay, it has wet and dry spells. In other words, the monsoon rain takes place only for a few days at a time. Okay, means we can say that if it is starting in June, then it will take a time period, it will take a break, and after a few days again. Okay, they are interspersed with rainfall intervals. These breaks in monsoon are related to the movement of monsoon trough. For various reasons, the trough in its axis keep on moving northward or southward, which determines the spatial distribution of rainfall. When the axis of the monsoon trough lies over the plain, rainfall is good in these parts. Okay. On the other hand, whereas the axis shifts closer to the Himalayas, there are longer dry spells and the plains, and widespread rain occur in the mountainous catchment areas of the Himalayan rivers. So it is just because of the axis, okay, which is moving to northward or southward. These heavy rains bring in their wake devastating floods, causing damage to life and property in the plains. Means where there is much of rainfall, there are much more problems also, much more destruction causes also. The frequency and intensity of tropical depressions to determine the amount and duration of monsoon rains. Means what is the frequency and the intensity of tropical depressions. These depressions form at the head of Bay of Bengal and cross over to the mainland. The depressions follow the axis of the monsoon. Okay, so here we can see trough of the low pressure. The monsoon is known for its uncertainties. The alternation of dry and wet spells vary in intensity, frequency and duration. Means the intensity of these monsoon winds can be different. Their frequency is different, their intensity is different. While it causes heavy flood in one part, it may be responsible for droughts in the other. Okay, so such variations in the frequency, in the intensity, what happens? One part is suffering from flood and the other part is suffering from drought. Hence, okay, it may be possible for droughts. It is often irregular in its arrival and its retreat. Hence, it sometimes disturbs the farming schedule of millions of farmers of all over the country, because we cannot predict the rainy season, right? It can be at any time, right? So this can make or this can harm the farmers' crops also, right? So then we come to the retreating post monsoons, that is the transition season. During October-November, with the apparent movement of the sun towards the south, the monsoon trough or the low pressure trough over the northern plains becomes weaker. This is gradually replaced by a high pressure system. Now, if you're talking about October, November, okay, October, November, what happens with the movement of sun towards the south part? What happens? The monsoon trough, which is of the low pressure, it over the northern plains, it becomes weaker at the northern side. This is gradually replaced by high pressure system. The southwest monsoon winds weaken and start withdrawing gradually. By the beginning of October, the monsoon withdrawn from the northern plains. Okay, so the rainfall season is over from the northern plains. The months of October November form a period of transition from hot rainy season to dry winter conditions, October to November. The retreat of the monsoon is marked by clear skies and rise in temperature. The temperature increases and the sky is clear. While day temperatures are high, nights are cool and pleasant. Okay, in daytime you experience warmness, you experience hotness, and in the night you experience cold. The land is still moist owing to the conditions of high temperature and humidity. The weather becomes rather oppressive during the day. This is commonly known as October heat. In the second half of October, the mercury begins to fall rapidly in northern India. Means in the month of October, what happens? The days become warm and the nights become cool and pleasant. Right? Okay. Then the low pressure conditions over northwestern India get transferred to the Bay of Bengal by early November. This shift is associated with the occurrence of cyclonic depressions which originate over the Andaman Sea. These cyclones generally cross an eastern coast of India, cause heavy and widespread rain. So these cyclonic disturbances, they cross the eastern coasts of India, and just because of that they receive heavy and widespread rain. These tropical cyclones are often very destructive. The thickly populated deltas of the Godavari, the Krishna and the Kaveri are frequently struck by cyclones, which cause great damage to life and property. Just because of this, what happens? The thickly populated means where the population is very thick, right? Okay, there is we can say there are cyclones, and just because of cyclones there is damage to life and property. Sometimes these cyclones arrive at the coast of Odisha, West Bengal and Bangladesh. The bulk of the rainfall of Coromandel coast is derived from depressions and cyclones. Okay, so this was about the retreating post monsoons. Now we have here distribution of rainfall, how the rainfall is distributed in different parts. Parts of western coast and northeastern India receive over about 400 centimeter of rainfall. Means of the western coast, parts of western coast and northeastern India, it receives over 400 centimeters of rainfall. However, it is less than 60 centimeter in western Rajasthan and adjoining parts of Gujarat, Haryana and Punjab. Rainfall is equally low in the interior of the Deccan Plateau and east of the Sahel. Why do these regions receive low rainfall? What is the reason that the interior part of the Deccan Plateau is receiving less rainfall? A third area of low precipitation is around Leh in Jammu and Kashmir. The rest of the country receives moderate rainfall snow. Okay, means in Leh in Jammu and Kashmir we can receive less rainfall. There is a third area of low precipitation, there is low rainfall. But if you are talking about the overall country, then it receives a moderate rainfall and average rainfall. Snowfall is restricted to the Himalayan region because the slopes and the heights of the Himalayan regions are so much that they receive snowfall there. Owing to the nature of monsoons, the annual rainfall is highly variable from year to year. Okay, we do not can predict, or we cannot receive the same rainfall from this. If this year we have more rainfall, then another year we can have receive less rainfall. Variability is high in the regions of low rainfall such as parts of Gujarat. Means variability is high. Okay, the rainy season, there can be variations in the rainy season in those areas where we have low rainfall. That is the Rajasthan part, Gujarat and leeward side of the Western Ghats. As such, while areas of high rainfall are liable to be affected by floods, areas low rainfall are drought. Okay, just because of these variations, where we receive high rainfall, there can be problems of floods, and where we receive low rainfall, there we can have the problem of droughts. Okay, so this is with the distribution of rainfall, that the distribution of rainfall varies from one year to the another. Now we have monsoon as a unifying bond. How it unifies, right? It unites. Okay. Now you have known that how Himalaya protect the subcontinent from extremely cold winds from Central Asia. Okay, with the cold winds which are blowing from Central Asia, Himalayan mountains act as a barrier to prevent them from entering into our Indian subcontinent. This enables northern India to have uniformly high temperatures compared to other areas on the same latitudes. Similarly, the peninsular plateau under the influence of the sea from three sides has moderate temperature. The northern plains has high temperature, and if you are talking about the peninsular India, which is covered by three sides on sea, have moderate and an average temperature. Despite such moderating influences, there are great variations in the temperature conditions. Nevertheless, the unifying influence of the monsoon on the Indian subcontinent is quite perceptible. The seasonal alternation of the winter systems and associated weather conditions provide a rhythmic cycle of seasons. Even the uncertainties of rain and uneven distribution. So here just see this as a map. Here is given about the seasonal rainfall, that is June and September. Okay, and here we have the next, that is the annual rainfall. Okay, are very much typical of the monsoons, means the rainfall variations can also change, right? The Indian landscape, its animal and plant life, its entire agricultural calendar and the life of the people, including their festivities, revolve around this phenomena. Okay, means whenever if the farmers want to grow any crop, if we want to do any work, there are very variations, and it records, means it is connected with this phenomena of monsoon. Year after year, people of India from north to south and from east to west eagerly await the arrival of the monsoon. Obviously, people are waiting for the rainy season. After receiving winter season, after receiving hot season, they receive so that they can get some type of rainfall. These monsoon winds bind the whole country by providing water to set the agricultural activities in motion. So these monsoon can act as a unifying bond, just because apart from this, because the agriculture is totally dependent on monsoons, right? So the river valleys which carry this water also unite as a single river valley unit. The rivers which are carrying these rainfall water, okay, this is also a uniting bond. So this is all for today. Thank you. As we complete this fourth chapter,